Hi guys, so I wanted to make this video especially for the 8th RL students who didn't get this lesson live in person last week. So I wanted to make sure that I could give you some assistance with understanding it today. But if you go to do the Desmos activity or this worksheet and you have a lot of trouble, please come on to my call today. But I'm going to do numbers 1 and 2 for you. If I drag my pencil, actually I might do one on the front and one on the back. So number 1, to tell me if it's a function, that means that I run my pencil across and do the vertical line test. If it touches my pencil in two places at the same time, so like it touched it here and here at the same time, it would not be a function. So when I drag this across, that doesn't happen. So this is a function. My domain, you guys can write it as inequalities or you can write it in interval notation. I want to focus on interval notation, so I'm just going to stick to that way. Right here, there's a closed circle, so that means we have a bracket. Over here, we have an arrow, which means it's going on forever in that direction. So we're going to have a parenthesis. The domain is our x values, so I want to look at my x-axis. It's going from here to here. So it starts at -2, and it goes on actually infinitely. It doesn't stop at 7 because this arrow just keeps that line going and going and going. So I would put positive infinity because it's going in the positive direction. For range, for my y values, it looks like it never gets any lower than this point. That looks like it's our minimum. And that's a concrete point, so I could put my bracket. That's at -4. And then it just goes infinitely upward with this right here. It's going infinitely in the positive direction. So I'd have a plus infinity. And whenever I have an infinity sign, I have that bracket. My relative minimum is just what you'd have to decide. Does your graph have a minimum or a maximum? If it's facing up, it has a minimum. If it's facing down, it has a maximum. This one has a minimum because it's a facing up parabola, and that minimum is right here at that -4. We usually give a y value, so I would just say -4 is my min. Where is it increasing and where is it decreasing? So once again, we want an interval here. I just look at where's my graph going down, that's decreasing. So from here to here, it's decreasing. This is what I call a turning point because I'm going down, 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 then it's turning up to go positive. Whenever we have a turning point, that's always going to be a parenthesis, not a bracket. So that's decreasing from here to here. I just want to make sure that I have a parenthesis here. Over here, I can have my bracket because of that closed circle. When I'm talking about increasing and decreasing, I'm always talking about the x values. Okay? So I want to say it's decreasing from -2 to +2. Okay, those are the x values at which it's decreasing from here to here. Then I want to talk about where it's increasing. So it starts to increase at 2. That's a turning point. So I'm going to have just that parenthesis. And then it keeps going, keeps increasing infinitely. So I put positive infinity. Okay, I can't tell you when it stops increasing because it keeps going up. That arrow tells me that my graph keeps going. All right, so that's number 1. I'm also going to go over, let's see. I think I'll go over this one. It looks like it's number 8. Some of these are not labeled, sorry, but they just go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'll go over number 8. Number 8's a pretty weird one. So I would do my vertical line test to see if it's a function. I would go like this, and my graph hits my pencil in 2 places at once. Here, here. It also does it here, here. So this is not a function. My domain is my x values. It looks like it goes from here to here. I would put a bracket here because they do have one closed circle. So that's -4. Remember, domain is your x values. -4 to -2. I would also put a bracket there because that's a closed value. My range is up and down. So my range looks like it goes from here to here. So that's y equals 0. That's definitely a closed circle. And then it goes up to y equals 4. And that's an open circle. So I would put my parenthesis there. My relative max or min should always be, my y value. Just like my range is also my y values. This really could have a maximum or a minimum. It's not facing up or down. It could realistically have both. However, I wouldn't call this one a max because it's an open circle. So I would say you have a minimum here, and that y value there is actually 0. Okay. Increasing, we want to think about where our graph is increasing. So this one's definitely a little tricky. Remember that with increasing and decreasing, we're talking about x values. So I would look at this graph and say that this part of the graph is increasing and this part of the graph is decreasing. Those are actually like the same x values, but one of them here we have an open circle. So we'll start with increasing. So increasing is starting at the x value of -4, and that's a bracket because that's a closed circle. And then it goes to here, which is at -2. But that's going to have to be a parenthesis because this is a turning point. It starts to turn in the other direction. Then for decreasing, we also start at -4. This is when it starts to decrease. It's at the x value of -4. But it's going to be a parenthesis because that is an open circle. And then we get down here at that -2 again, and that's a turning point still, so we'll have a parenthesis. So that one's a little tricky, so I wanted to give you one that was a little different. All right? All right, good luck, guys. Please reach out to me if you need any help today. Have a great day.